Oh my gosh, that's so good. That doesn't sound safe. Hi, beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and I love you so much. Thank you for being so super supportive on this prep and honestly asking really dang good questions that made it worthwhile for me to record this. So, it is Sunday, February 25th. My 6 weeks out check-in was this past Thursday. So we're cruising along, and we're just gonna go through all the questions that you guys asked me. I hope you enjoyed this morning's clips. I had to do my cardio this morning, a little bit of grocery shopping, and if you're curious, my cardio right now is 6 times a week, 50 minutes per session. Me and my coach both hate the Stairmaster, so 4 of my 6 sessions are treadmill incline walking. My other 2 sessions are actually 50 minutes of a light jog, which sounds crazy, but because of my running background, it's not awful. It's manageable. I don't know. It's better suited for me. Definitely way better than the Stairmaster, personally. I should not have made this because now I just want to take sips of it the entire time. Okay, so before I get into this vlog, these are my 2 disclaimers. 1, I'm a natural athlete. I have never been on performance enhancing drugs, so that might affect my prep experience. No path is easier than the other. That's not like a magic trick or anything. But if I would say like being a natural athlete, and this is gonna go hand in hand with my number 2 disclaimer, answering these questions in my prep experience, is that I'm not just doing prep just to lose weight and have like a transformation. I'm not doing it just to say that I did it. Prep for me is very as serious as we can make it for my first time around. We're doing it to be competitive. We're taking it as an athlete approach, which means we are going to take it to extremes. Not everyone's prep experience is going to be like mine. Not everyone has these goals. But I did want to cover those 2 things just going into this so I can help you understand or shape your perspective on my prep, my perspective on my prep. I don't know. I just want to get that out there. So anyways, let's look at our questions. Make sure we don't have any repeating. Alrighty, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna go down the line of these questions. So first question is, what's the difference between bikini and other competitions like wellness? I wish I had Dan here right now because he probably can give you all the different bodybuilding sections and whatever. It's like bodybuilding's crazy. There's a lot going on. Not only are there like bikini and wellness and figure, and those are all different types that you could fall into or want to compete into, and they are all critiqued differently based on the shape that you're going for in each one. Not only that, but also when it comes to shows, there's OCB, there's natural only shows, there's NPC shows, each with varying degrees of difficulties and qualifications to get into those shows. So to answer this question shortly, the difference between bikini and wellness, from my understanding, I haven't researched wellness, so I don't know that much about it. I'm competing in bikini. Bikini, it's better to think about it. You do want, not a smaller stature, but wellness is if you want, wellness is like full everything. You want a fuller upper body, much, much, much bigger legs. I would say girls who are short and stout would do better in wellness, whereas I'm like lanky. Not to say that bikini girls should be lanky. I don't stand a chance to be in wellness. I will never be able to be that thick. So bikini, they're looking for your shoulders to match your glutes, a small waist, not a lot of quad, more hamstring and more glutes. That's bikini. And like I said, wellness, I don't know a lot about it, but I know that it's a little bit fuller overall. Actually, this is a picture of Laura Lee, she's my lock screen right now, and she's a great representation of bikini. Next question. Hi, Lily. Are you in the gym more days of the week than you were before prep? For sure. Absolutely, for sure. I would say in my maintenance phase, I wasn't being coached necessarily in my off season this year, which is something I want to change for next year. I was probably only in the gym 4 times a week, lifting 4 times a week. I definitely like to err on the side of less is more, going in for super quality sessions and staying active, like walking the dogs, doing active things more than just being in the gym. So I was doing, I think, 2 upper body, 2 lower body days, basically, or 3 lower and 1 upper. And now with how much cardio I have to do, I'm in the gym 6 days a week, no doubt about it. I was getting a little chilly there. Sorry. All right, next question. Did you reduce your calories gradually, and how many calories do you consume like this? I feel like a lot of people do not like talking about how many calories they are at. I will do so, but I will also precaution like what my weight and height is as well. So yes, we gradually reduced my calories. I did a 20-week, or I am doing a 20-week prep with my coach, Lauren Bear. Really highly recommend doing a long prep. It could be longer. I mean, people do 24-week preps. The great thing about that is it does give your coach, if they've never worked with you before, the first like 2 or 3 weeks, you can kind of figure out maybe where your maintenance is, or if you already start to drop, you know already what it would take to be in a deficit with very low cardio. I think when we got started, I was at probably 2,000 calories, 2,100 with like 3 20-minute walks a week. And now I am at just above 1,000 calories. And like I said, 6 sessions of 50-minute cardio. So yes, we took it down notch by notch. We also aren't really worried about overall calories. We are, but we're also adjusting it based on our macros, actually. And basically continuously just pulling down carbs and fats a little bit. You can't go super, super low in fats. There is kind of like a spot where you have to stay, and then increasing protein to hopefully help you feel not as hungry. Martha Bean, I love you. I'm so glad that you asked a question. She asked, what's the easiest adjustment been? This was like such a good question. I loved it when I saw this. Honestly, the easiest adjustment in a sense has been tracking my food, weighing my food. Before I decided to do prep, I did experiment and do a tracked cut on my own. Where I was weighing my food, not as serious as I am now in terms of like weighing even my sauces, even my almond milk and my cappuccinos. But that was the easiest adjustment because I had done it before, and I highly recommend like putting yourself through that and just seeing like on your own, like what's it feel like? Could you do prep? Is that something that you could do? Next question, more about what you eat, what your workouts look like day to day, anything. I'm so interested. What I eat per day on prep, I would say it's really important to find the foods that make you feel good, that don't cause inflammation, that is easy for you to digest. At first, I started with ground turkey, didn't sit well. Eggs, not sitting well. Oatmeal, not sitting well. Basically, I've come down to like maybe 5 foods: chicken, rice, cream of rice, which is a form of rice, peanut butter, hummus, and then I have fiber tortillas. And then my vegetables are green beans, mushrooms, and my fruit is blackberries and sometimes strawberries. And I do have a little bit of dark chocolate because I'm just literally just a girl. So you kind of get down to like 5 or 8 foods, and that way too, like when you're doing your macros, I will split up my chicken and rice 3 ways. And all I'm doing is putting my same seasoning and my same sauce on it 3 times a day. And basically those 3 meals just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller as I go down in macros and just keep pulling rice out of it. Workouts, because I'm competing in bikini, my workouts are super leg focused, super back of leg focused. So it feels like 3 leg days a week. I lift 5 times a week. It feels like I hit legs 3 times a week because I have a full body day, 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days. But it feels like 3 lower body, 2 upper. Periods with an exclamation point, which I just posted today on my story to see if anyone asked me. Someone else asked me, how has your cycle been affected? This is very funny because I'm having issues with it as of yesterday. Maybe January, so about 12 weeks out was a hard part for me, and now I'm 6 weeks out. This has also been a rougher part of my prep, I would say. I don't know why. It just, if you do prep, you'll find that like you do go through phases where your body is like fighting you extra hard. Your body does not want to be this lean, especially as a female. So it will fight you. Yeah, I have not lost my period. What has been happening to me is during my 2 weeks where I should be quote unquote ovulating and some girls spot, I've been like really heavily spotting where I almost feel like I'm getting a period every 2 weeks. So that's been a little hard. I'm thinking maybe, and I should not be optimistic in thinking like this. I'm hoping maybe this is my last period because I really don't want any more before my show, to be honest. Just causes bloating and a lot of issues and pain. Even though I'm very, very blessed that it means I'm fertile and I can still have kids. I'm also not on birth control, so that might affect my experience as well. I was really looking forward to this question. Something I really wanted to answer is, how do you get started? Google bikini coach near me, ? So in the bodybuilding world, it is a little bit political, and this is where my experience is unique, not necessarily to me, but that I fall into the category of I'm trying to be competitive. So you want to look for teams that politically have a name established already. Now, having said that, sometimes that means that you have a really, really good coach at the very top and they have all these coaches underneath them, and some are good and some are bad. Like, don't just go with a name. Two teams that are really big in NPC Bikini is Pro Physique and Bare Aesthetics. Bare Aesthetics was recommended to me from a posing coach that I knew in the Raleigh area, Alex Nicole, who owns Polished Posing. Before I competed about a year and a half ago, she did a posing clinic, and I was curious about bodybuilding and prep potentially. So I had gone there, talked with her. We've been in contact. She lifted in my gym. So I would say it's important to talk to people that are in your area or in your circle of sphere of influence per se at the gym who maybe have competed and get their advice from there. And then your next step after that, once you choose maybe 2 or 3 coaches or 2 or 3 teams, is now you interview them. They're not interviewing you. You interview them. Get a feel for them. So the first coach that I talked to from Pro Physique, she was just like right away. Actually, I think it was 2 coaches from them, and that's their great team or whatever. Just like maybe the coaches that I had, we didn't vibe right away, but this felt like a red flag to me. They were basically like, what are your macros right now? What are your numbers? What do you weigh? How much is your height? What show are you trying to do? You ready to be 15 weeks out? Like, it was just so numbers and so harsh and cold that it didn't feel like I was going to be mentored or coached or supported. And like, I personally just need a little bit more words of affirmation, or just like, I don't know. This is a very rough process to go through, especially if you want to be competitive like me and take it to extremes. You're going to need like moral support, not just numbers and someone yelling at you all the time. So that's what I learned through my interview process. I then interviewed with Lauren Bear from Bare Aesthetics and immediately fell in love with her. She just made me feel comfortable. She sounded like she was genuinely interested about my goals. She asked me had I tracked my macros before, like where my experience laid with lifting and things, to get a feel of like, would I be going in competitively or would I just be doing it just to do it? So Lauren and I vibed immediately. I cannot recommend Bare Aesthetics enough. Knowing their athletes, their coaches, Lauren herself, Dylan, we're just on a reality TV show called Couple to Throuple, which is so cool. You can watch them on Peacock right now and get to know them. We had similarities too outside of bodybuilding, like EDM music and different hobbies and things, and just, I think that's really important, is finding a coach that is not only just experienced and has a good reputation, but that you do genuinely vibe with and feel comfortable with being on the phone and texting them, because that's what they are there for, or should be there for. I thought this was a really, really good question. Does it affect your relationship with your family? It can affect a lot of relationships, work relationships, everything else. I think it's important to surround yourself with people who could be understanding. Don't waste your energy explaining yourself. A lot of people are just not going to get it, and that is okay. This is what you want to do. So, me personally, my mother has been very supportive, actually, which I was surprised. I think it is hard to see your daughter go through something that's like taking her to such like lean body fat levels. And trust me, there's days I'm really unhappy. And she's been so supportive all throughout this entire process. My boyfriend, he has done a show before. He's been super supportive. Of course, we've had some hangry moments, I can assure you. My friends, I would say, I have some friends who, you'll be surprised how many people know somebody who has done this. So I would say I've had a pretty positive experience. Maybe I've chosen the right people to be around during it, but I wouldn't let it scare you off too much, and don't waste your energy too much either. Do what you want to do. Balance work and prep. This is my biggest takeaway from prep. I would say prep makes you so super organized that it will almost bleed into like every other part of your life, and you will probably be more successful in other parts of your life, even though you're taking on like so much more weight and effort with prep. It makes you so regimented and so scheduled, you can't help but like bring that into other parts of your life. So I have found, to an extent, more organization, maybe not balance. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job balancing it all because I'm so scheduled. So I make sure that I will literally write in my journal, like read for an hour. Like I give myself scheduled like relaxation, like Tuesday night, like I know I need to relax. Like I'm not going to edit. I am a person who works full time. I also do social media and content creation, which for me is very organic. So while it does take time to edit and things, I'm not doing anything that's not me. So it doesn't take bad energy away from me or is bad energy. Friends and having a social life is definitely imbalanced, maybe a little bit with prep. But for me personally, I've been leaning on books, which I've been sharing on social media, and you'll just find ways to, I don't want to use the word cope, but you'll lean into some hobbies that will give you some balance. It's just going to look different when you're off prep and when you're on prep. And for me as well, I would say I work from home, which has been good and bad because when you're working from home, you can grab snacks out of the pantry. It's easier to eat, I guess. I feel like I don't know if it really benefits me being a work from home person and being on prep, other than maybe fitting in like cardio in the gym. But if you're working in an office, you can only eat what you packed pretty much. I mean, I guess you could go out, but there's more effort, you know? So I would say it's not as bad as you think. You just have to really, really schedule yourself out and be disciplined in that approach so you're not causing yourself more anxiety during this whole process. How to taper calories to remain in deficit but maximize muscle. We definitely want to protect that protein macro of yours. You want to keep it at your body weight or body weight and a half or 1.25 of your body weight in grams. So for example, I started prep at 122. My protein never goes below 120 or 115, only on my refeed days, which I'm not going to get into unless someone asks me more questions about that. A refeed day basically means high carbs, low fat, low protein, whereas most of the time it's the opposite. And other than that though, my protein's always been above 120, and yeah, I would just, you have to keep your training intensity up as well as you're dropping your calories. You can't stop prioritizing building muscle and tearing muscle and repairing it. So that's what I would say. And also don't taper your calories super extreme and super fast. Slow and steady is the best way to do it. I don't even know. It's like you really don't want to jump probably more than 500 calories a day. Like you don't want to cut more than that. How many times have you competed? 0. And I'm sure someone could give me shit for making this YouTube having never done it, but that's the whole point, is that I'm bringing you guys along in this journey and this experience, and we're doing it for the first time together. But a huge goal of mine was to not trick people, but I wanted to put off the aurora or energy of this is not my first time competing. That was a goal of mine, to go into it very level-headed, very mature, check all the boxes, do all the right things, not binge, get a good coach, don't cut corners, and really have my first prep be full of grace and look very experienced first time around. And I would say so far we've done really well. So none yet, but I will have 2 shows in April, and who knows what the rest of the year will hold for me. Food prep, where to start if you suck at cooking. This is a funny question. If you suck master cooking chicken. That is going to help you a lot. Chicken is like so easy, and once you figure it out, you literally just put it on like low to medium heat. Put the chicken on, wait until it gets golden brown, and flip it once, another 2-3 minutes, and that's it. It's very simple. I season it on both sides while I'm cooking it, and just master cooking chicken, because you can just buy a rice cooker and do chicken and rice. Like, that is so easy. So you just gotta figure out how to make chicken, basically. Or figure out a protein that you cook really well with rice. And then your vegetables, literally just steam them. And then my big thing is finding a seasoning and a sauce that you love together. I'm super inclined to eat Asian food, so my entire prep, every bowl, 3 times a day, I do, let me get it for you actually so I can show you. So I do this everything but the bagel seasoning and the sugar-free teriyaki marinade. That's literally all it takes. Oh, I guess I do have a seasoning as well that is on my chicken, but I think it's called it's called buttery seasoning by Kinders. You can just do like salt and pepper seasoning, just finding something like that. But definitely this afterwards on my vegetables, on my rice, and then that as well. How do you maintain your patience or remind yourself that seeing results takes time? Maintaining your patience. That is really true, because, or a really good question, because prep, sometimes you feel like you're not lean enough. I would say I've become such an advocate for having a coach throughout this entire process. I've always been coachable. I was an athlete growing up, and I honestly didn't think I was going to enjoy being coached so much later in life, almost entering my 30s with like bodybuilding and training and lifting in the gym, and like, but I've absolutely loved it. It has just taken the emotions out of it, especially if you get a really good coach who's super knowledgeable. It is like, someone told me, this really stuck with me. Sam actually told me, one of the bikini girls that competes in this area, and she said, it is up to your coach how you look. Everything else, you just check the boxes and you do what they say to do. Let them handle how you look. That is their job. Literally, that is what you're paying them for. So that has reminded me to be patient. I would definitely ask her maybe, I don't know, just nothing good is worth rushing for, right? Kind of cliche, but. Top tips for maintaining a positive headspace. Probably gonna revert back to that answer a lot, is hiring a coach, but also maintaining a positive headspace. What else do I do? Something that I learned recently that has helped me a lot is that when you're getting super overwhelmed and anxious, is to go stand outside and look at like the furthest thing in your peripheral vision, and just like literally breathe and just remind yourself that the world is a lot bigger than what you're going through right now. You also chose to do this. The other way that I maintain a positive headspace is you really just have to go day by day. Just go day by day. Do today really well. That's your job. Every day, just do that day well. And you just cross those boxes, and it's just another day done that you did well. So I try to just pretend I just don't think about everything else. You have to trust that if you do what you're supposed to be doing every day, that you will get to where you need to be. That's how I stay positive. Also, don't cut corners. So this is another calorie macro question. Is it all about keeping your protein as high as possible and lowering carbs and fats? To an extent, you do have to be wise. You can only drop your fat so low because you also have to keep yourself healthy and your tendons healthy. And I think especially for females, we have to stay a little bit higher. I think this can change to a little bit if you are on performance enhancing drugs, and if you're natural, there's certain limits that you can and cannot take. Honestly, I don't think that I will ever get to 0 carbs. I hear a lot of girls that are. Again, hiring a good coach, there's some extremes that you really don't need to do if you give yourself a long enough prep and you go into it correctly. So I would say it's not necessarily all about continuously cutting carbs and fats. There's definitely a balance to it, I would say. And again, hiring a good coach is super important for this. And everyone is totally different. Like, you cannot look at someone else's numbers and base your numbers off of that. Hi.
Hi.
You want to answer this question too? Is it all about keeping your protein as high as possible and lowering carbs and fat? Like, it is, but it's not. Yeah.
If you're natural, the magic number, 1.25 body weight.
Yes, this is why I did already say that. Yeah, you definitely do keep your protein. But, this is what I was like thinking. You can only go so high in your protein without screwing up your digestion and prep. And this is definitely TMI, but digestion is tricky. Pooping can be tricky on prep. And if you go too high in protein, that can screw you up. So.
But at the same time, your body can get used to a lot of protein.
Yeah, I can.
It can. A lot of people say 1 gram per pound of body weight. I think you need more than that.
Definitely need more. Probably 1.25 minimum.
When you start, you might have the runs.
Yeah.
But you just gotta
Or constipated.
You just gotta get over it and eat healthy, unprocessed proteins. Goodbye.
Yeah, unprocessed. This question I am not going to be able to answer, but what is cream of rice for UK and best one to buy? Maybe you guys have cream of wheat? Honestly, I don't know. I did not realize in the UK that you don't have cream of rice. According to this person, they do not. Oh, this is such a good question. How hard does the hunger actually hit? It is definitely a part of prep, for sure. And you will go through phases and up and downs of it. And some days it's going to be a lot harder than others. And you will need to put processes into place, basically, to alleviate the hunger. But it is a constant in prep. That is the reality of prep, for sure. Different things that I have done is you gotta stretch out your food in the morning. I tend to be able to handle my hunger a little bit better because I'm busy with work, busy with cardio. So I wouldn't say like I'm intermittent fasting. I'm just pushing off my food until 11:30, 12 o'clock every day. So I feel like I have enough food going into the rest of the night. And then I just kind of have it in my head how I'm gonna handle my day. Like, I know I'm busy from 2 to 5. I can go 2 to 5 without food, and then I'll have my next portion of chicken and rice. A tough part for me sometimes is waiting between 4 and like 8 p.m. I like to save my last chicken and rice portion for about 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and then I do my little nighttime sweet treat of cream of rice and dark chocolate and blackberries at 9:30. That way, at least I'm going to bed feeling full. But hunger in general, that is for sure part of prep, and it gets really freaking gnarly sometimes. It's pretty dang bad, and that is unfortunately just part of it. So, but you will figure it out and you can get through it. On this little piece, because I feel like when I was answering the how hard does the hunger hit you question, I was trying to come off more cool, calm, and collected and being mature as an athlete. And also Dan was in the room. I didn't want him to judge me. And just honestly, it's really freaking hard. You actually get emotional. You're so hungry. And I think the reason why is because it's compounded hunger. Everyone has been hungry at some point in their life, right? Like, I was a bartender. I would go 13 hours sometimes with like barely eating. But then at least at the end of the night, I would pound fries or something afterwards. I think because it is such compounded hunger, so strategic, and there's no break to the hunger, it is weeks, months of being hungry. You're never not hungry. Days upon days of going to bed hungry. I think that's why. I think people in this sport like to front that it's not so bad, but it is really, really bad. You just get better at it. And you learn to have more grace with it and just swallow it as it is just part of it. But as a first-time competitor, holy crap, has it humbled me. And it's really hard, and like you do find yourself constantly scraping bowls, plates. You want to binge so bad. A lot of people do binge on prep. I have not, and I will not. But like, you even want to binge on like green beans. Like, I want to eat more green beans. I want to eat more chicken. Like the stupidest, like just one more extra chocolate chip. Like, it's very hard. And yeah, I'm being strong in it. But I don't know. I just want to add this just so it's like a little more raw and real, and just like, I don't want to be someone who fronts about it. And I'm sure like the more times that you do this, you get better at it. But guys, it's my first time doing this, and I just wanted to share that. So if you're considering it, just be prepared and know that you'll have to put processes into place that are maybe not always super healthy, but it is possible, it's survivable. A lot of people do prep, and yeah. Okay, that's all. I'm gonna go back to cooking my chicken and getting done with this workday. I did have a question too. I think someone asked tips to overcome the hunger, if any, LOL. It is, like I said, planning out your day, putting things into motion. I do have these, I rely a lot on drinks personally. That helps me get through, keeps me busy. I do these little Zevia's sugar-free sodas that I love. I just put them in a wine glass with fancy ice, and that keeps me satisfied and happy to sip on that while I'm doing something. Another thing that I do is Morphogen Nutrition has this chocolate fat burner. So here's my Zevia's. I always do caffeine free. So I'll put those in like a fancy wine glass, and then this Somagen Evening Rest and Burn by Morphogen. This literally tastes like healthy hot chocolate. And when you have something super warm in your stomach, I mean, I look forward to this with my cream of rice at night so much. Every single night I have this. It is supposed to help you burn fat at night as well. And yeah, that's what helps me. Wondering if you have been comfortable with posing from day one, or was this a process? Such a process. Even I'm 6 weeks out right now, and I am so irritated. I was literally on the verge of tears last night because I felt like I looked like a baby giraffe transitioning in my back pose. Like, I hate it. I look so awkward during it. And it's just super awkward, and there's only so much a coach can tell you to do. I have really found that you just have to keep practicing over and over and over again, and your arms and things, you will start to flow and move in your own way, and you can't really coach it. You can watch other people and try to mimic them, but your body will move in its own way, but you have to practice. You have to keep going through the motions until it becomes more natural. So absolutely not. I did not feel comfortable posing from day one. You feel so defeated and want to quit? If so, how do you deal with it? I've read this question when I saw it last week and like immediately had to answer it in my head, and I know it is so super cliche, but it really is. You did not come this far to only come this far. I would say because I did a longer prep as well, I really did not hit that hard part until 12 weeks. Like 20 to 12 weeks was not super awful for me because it was so slow. But once I hit 12 weeks, it's just, you've already gone through so much. Like, why are you going to throw that away? That makes no sense to me. So you have to remind yourself how far you've come, and just like think about all those hard days you've already survived. You really want to throw that in the trash? And the further you go, the closer you get. So just keep pushing. What's the first thing you're eating when you're done with prep? Bojangles 5-piece supreme with honey mustard, probably 2 Bowberry biscuits, might even do a full extra large sweet tea. I don't care. You could ask for a 5-piece supreme, and it's so good. And the seasoning, I'm gonna lick the fries. So Bojangles, you know what's so funny is I've eaten chicken and rice this entire prep, and the first thing I want to eat is chicken, but that's besides the point. Also the fries. Papa John's pizza. I cannot wait to have dough and the sauce and the cheese just slide off my mouth. Savory. I think I'm craving more savory because it's been a little bit easier for me to put like artificial sweeteners into my prep and like a little bit of stevia dark chocolate. So I'm not craving sweets as much, but like fries, salt, fat, Probably a burger too. Pancake God, hi, I'm waving at you. You said everything, period, T. And I appreciate you and I love you so much. So glad I saw you today. Good energy at the gym. Surround yourself with good energy during prep. Don't close yourself off from people. Big advice there, especially if you're extroverted like me. I need to get energy from people. You do a lot of nesting during prep, but it's still really important to talk to people. Cardio and lifting, I need to know your hair care routine. I would be a grease ball. I will say I am not a big sweater. I run super cold, and the lower your body fat is, the colder you are. I really don't sweat that much, even when I'm running. So that might just be more of a personal thing for me. The other thing is that I only wash my hair every 4 days, and you'll see on my 3rd or 4th day, I usually always have a headband on. So I'm covering like that amount of grease. Now you know my secret. If I'm wearing a headband, I probably have dirty hair. Or I would do a slick back bun on the very last day with a hair mask. And I also swear by the Batiste dry shampoo, which is probably so unhealthy. And I'm a blonde who gets her hair regularly highlighted. So I oil my ends, but I dry shampoo the crap out of my scalp with Batiste, which is just probably not good for you. And I have no problems and my hair is still grown. So I don't know. All right, last question is, it's very funny that we're ending with this question. What's your favorite pre-workout drink? It was Buff Pump. Caffeine-free pre-workout has always been my favorite. I'd rather have an energy drink and then basically beta-alanine, which is what gives you the pump. But as of yesterday, my digestive tract said, we don't like pre-workout anymore. We're too stressed out to handle that. So no more pre-workout for me, but I highly recommend. I used to love Legion's stim-free pre-workout. I work with My Protein today. They're usually out of stock in their stim-free pre-workout. Not a lot of brands have it, but Buff Chicks Buff Pump is really, really good. My friend Pancake God, who just asked one of these questions, he has a code with them. It is Pancake God for you to get 10 or 20% off. I don't remember what it is, but I do love them. All right, well, that answers all the questions that you guys had. Please comment if there are any others. Always feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'm usually pretty good at seeing those, and we'll definitely take the time to answer you. And thanks again for watching, guys, and being so super supportive of me. I couldn't do it without you, and I'm so glad that we are able to, in a sense, do this together and go through this together for the first time. And I'm thinking for my next YouTube, if you haven't seen or heard, I am working with Buff Bunny, which I'm super freaking excited about. I love Gymshark. I mean, I'm decked out right now, but I am 28 years old. I've always loved Heidi, Buff Bunny herself, and I feel like it is a little bit more of an elevated line. So I'm super excited to be representing them as a brand, and they have a brand new launch, the Girlfriend Collection, which is coming out on March 5th, I want to say. Hope I'm not saying that wrong. So I'm thinking my next YouTube, I'm probably going to be running through all the items that you absolutely need to get. They are sending me a huge package this week, so I'm excited to share that with you guys. And subscribe so that you can see that, and I hope to see you next time.